not sure whether we gutted it down, but basically, as John said, all options are feasible technically, and really, the shorter you make the hydraulic flow, the more you're going to actually reduce the flooding on there. So the shortest route's going to give you the best. And while you say it's ponds, actually water doesn't pond level, it ponds with a hydraulic gradient, as they said. So we've got two options almost. Well, I'm just on the conversation wondering whether we've got two options. We've got the option recommended here, or we've got the option of going through the school and around the cricket ground. We have gone to an open channel in a lot of these because that is a more resilient solution in the long term. And we've also enabled us to go around the cricket ground because if we go through again, a lot more expense and things like that. But one option really, the biggest disadvantage between one and the other, and help me team if I haven't got it right, $5 million. And are we willing to go $5 million on a 34 and a 29? Because my issue, well, the issue is I think we've also got a whole pile of submissions of people from Flockton Basin wanting to actually make some progress on it. My worry is, and again, you may say, go away, compare those two options. We have got the Jacobs report. It goes through a number of options. We eliminated options 3 and 4, those lower options, because they had a whole pile of other disadvantages, so they couldn't get priced up. And we have looked at 14 different options. So I wonder whether the council's decision is, do you want more information on the comparison between options 1 and 2, really? It's those first two options, which I think are the two that we are favouring. Do you want to say, go away, talk to the landowners, if option 2 is viable, we are prepared to put $5 million into it? Sorry, Peter, you're not listening to me. But basically, those are the real two options of the trade-off. And really the trade-off is a whole pile of private property and some trees and all the rest of it. The issue I've got a fairly tired team over here. I've done a hell of a lot of work, and I actually don't want to bring them back over Christmas. I'd like them to have a break. And so if you were wanting another report and further options and more comparison, I'd like you to give them some time to do it. So, I would suppose we could go away and see whether option B is viable, and really, as John highlighted, the discussion is around the landowners. We haven't actually had the discussion. We have been talking to the landowners in the Banks Ave from about April, and I think that generally we've got quite a few of them over the line. We haven't signed anything, of course, but we have had that, but we've had none of that with that other group. So that's what the delay potentially is, even though there's a smaller group. So I just wonder if you were leaning towards option B, or whatever we call option B, the orange dotted line, that's sort of some of the background, and I'm not sure whether you...
Well, rather than referring to the named, because liaising with the park's kind of interesting, but if you commence liaising with the landowners to facilitate option B and report back to council by March 2015.
We could add to that 9.5 with a comparison to option A.
Yeah.
And also to ask Dave about the date March. Is that too soon?
Well, two things. I'm not quite sure what you want me to compare with. You want me to bring you back and say we've got 15 landowners that are happy here and 20 that aren't, and whatever, because there is a comparison in the Jacobs report that goes through the environmental impact, goes through the tree options, they go through the costing options. We've got a comparison of those options already. And so I'm just trying to work out, I could go and liaise with those and I'll give you the tick and I'll come back, but I'm not sure what I'm going to...
Okay, no, that's all right.
If that's your favourite option, why don't you say liaise, and if there's no barriers, get ahead and move with that, if that is your preferred option. The issue is, it's going to cost you $5 million more. But if that's the,
we know that, but at the moment, the way I see it is we don't have enough detail about that option B to be able to either vote for it or against it. So we're kind of not quite ready to choose an option. So I think we need to have this information. We want to know if all those parties are going to be agreeable and some more accurate costings that I think, is it in there somewhere? Yeah.
So we know 34 million and it's on it, and sorry John, I'm not sure whether you're saying you tell me the plus or minus on those estimates, but those estimates are comparable to the 29 million at this stage. You're actually the same on we could come back.
Well, someone's just made a suggestion actually that we go with option B now. I don't know That's something we haven't discussed. I mean, yeah.
The thing is that if there's no barriers to B, which 9.5 would tell us, I would favour that because even though the money's greater, it's around 10% more of the total cost of the project, I can't bring myself to sanction cutting down mature trees and removing a green reserve, which we've only got 3 of in the city, Dean's Bush, somewhere in Woolston, and Banks Ave. I think it's natural heritage and it's a big front page test.
Such a large scale.
The level of confidence around the difference in the price.
Now, be clear that the 29 and 34 is just from the Banks Avenue component, so the total projects are still 48.
Yeah.
The 5 million would push that up to 53. So that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, but then what's the confidence around the 53?
Right, the range is 20.
So the 48 million is the upper bound cost estimate for that option. So we still had carried that minus 10 plus 30 through on that, but it's the 48 is the plus 30 end of that. So up to 48 million is written in the report. So we would be looking at spending $5 million more, maybe on a lesser sum, but it's still $5 million. And there are still other people who are flooding elsewhere in the city, in the Woolston area, in the Heathcote, and we will need money to do things for those people.
It amazes me we sort of have put out a figure here, minus 10 plus 30 sort of thing, and it's putting a signal out really.
Yeah, but we're authorising expenditure up to 53 million,
I know,
so
but
it's
I'm
the
just
top
saying,
of
I mean, the
top of the
construction
range.
community are looking now that they're going to price the thing around what you were saying, and whereas it could be probably done a damn sight cheaper if we didn't have the money flagged there already.
I disagree.
5 million too, that's the other thing. And is that related primarily to digging the hole in the ground? Is that what that relates to?
Essentially, the Dudley Creek is a channel would be widening. You'd have to create that same capacity at the same depth at a level from a level of existing ground. So you have to remove all that material to get the hydraulic grade to work. So you have much greater volume of excavation along that alternate alignment. So through Marion College and the rest.
And that has been costed at 5 million.
Yeah. So we're using like for like activity costs to establish that difference. So they carry the same sort of inherent uncertainties.
Well, the difficulty is, I mean, yeah, it's kind of elephant in the room stuff, but, you know, there are issues that have been raised which would suggest that there might be other risks that we're not factoring into the cost assessment, and one of them is time. And, you know, I guess all I wanted at the beginning of this process was to get, and I mean the beginning of this part of the process, was to have confidence that we could proceed, you know, with something that wouldn't get held up by other processes along the way, and if I'm making myself reasonably clear. And that's a factor that we haven't had any analysis of, and it's almost difficult to take it into account. I actually wonder whether we could refer this report to Strategy and Planning next Thursday with power to act, so that the analysis around those other points could actually be included in the paper. David?
One thing Mike's just raised with me is the other issue is if we've gone out of that second option as our preferred option, we may get another suite of people that haven't submitted here that are going to be affected from the cricket club and things like that. Maybe, I don't know, whoever else is affected, or the people that live down by some of those trees.
Yeah, well,
there is a risk around.
There is a risk.
By going that way. And
yeah.
Again, I don't know if I'm sorry, I don't really want to go through another big, huge consultation process, but we have
Well,
one practice, and there's not anyone from the consultation team
Yeah,
here.
but we haven't, you know, we are a council, and in many respects we don't have any choice about, you know, sort of setting aside a required consultation process. And I've heard enough from councillors to know that there is a considerable degree of nervousness of proceeding down the preferred option that we consulted on based on the consultation, the response from the consultation. And I think there is a desire to have a look at this other option in a little bit more detail before we make a final decision. But, you know, it's kind of almost like caught between a rock and a hard place, because I don't know which interests might be affected by the decision to go down the second track, and so therefore we wouldn't want to make even an in-principle decision, because if we did, we might get undermined without having that advice. So, I mean, can we refer this to the, sorry?
Refer it to us, and maybe at tomorrow's meeting we'll come back to
Yeah.
the recommendation.
Ah,
Could we
okay,
craft it up overnight?
we could craft it up overnight. So that's what we'll do.
Paul, when we spoke about the submissions, in the consultation of submissions, that there was some positive feedback from people about requesting that option be investigated.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to have to go, so I was going to close the meeting at 5 o'clock, but if that's not going to happen, I'll ask the Deputy Chair to take the chair. And we'll be recommencing at 8:30 in the morning.
8:30.
Right. Okay. Can I suggest something? And that is that basically what Dave said, that in 9.5 we commence liaising with the landowners to facilitate option B, and if option B is viable, proceed with option B. Well, my justification of the viability is the additional price is $5 million, but the price of keeping a natural reserve in the city of how many extra trees? 200 is well over $5 million in a part of the city that actually needs it.
400 trees.
I also think it may have some better legal outcomes than proceeding down Banks Ave. So I'm willing to investigate that completely so that we have completely looked at all the options. If that is viable, then I'm willing to take Dave's advice that we actually proceed with that. But I'm not sure how others are feeling. I'm getting nods from Burwood, Pegasus and Shirley.
I'll support the alteration to my amendment. Yep.
So that would mean, Dave, can you suggest, in terms of the bit that you wanted in 9.5, commence liaising with the landowners to facilitate option B, and if option B is doable, or whatever the word is, viable, proceed to undertake that?
I would like to see, but it exposes us around that consultation thing, and I just think we need to take a little bit of a thought about it.
Could we let it lie on the table overnight?
No, we're going to resolve it. Yeah.
I get a feeling that you would like us to try and proceed with option B, and we've got a timeliness there, and we'll try and craft up an appropriate resolution, which still gives my guys a chance to.
But it might be that option B comes back as not a goer, but it's got to have more. We think that it needs to be looked at least with consultation.
Okay, Dave, could you actually come back to us by March, as Pauline has suggested, with whether option B is viable in terms of the landowners, just the landowners?
Could I make a suggestion?
Yes, feel free.
Just float this for what it's worth.
Yep.
If it would be really great to have a decision for the people of Dudley today.
Yes,
It
I
really
agree.
would be. To get the option B off the line, we've got to be careful. We can't say, yeah, let's go the purple route, Marion College, as our preferred option. It would have to be subject to further consultation with the affected landowners. That being the case, then that remains the preferred option. That means that we can carry on with an RFP and get that to market even before March.
Yes,
And
so tell
cuts
us
that
exactly
timeframe.
the wording you want.
Okay. It's subject to the
Just a minute,
successful
yeah.
conclusion of consultation with the landowners.
Yeah, we do. This is now. We're doing this too quickly.
Well, too quickly?
Yeah, no,
I don't think anybody in Flockton will accuse us of that.
No.
But can I just have the legal advice first?
Sorry, the concern I have with that, if you're marrying college or but to me that is not just passing.
In terms of process, absolutely.
Absolutely, yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, if it's a decision to defer till tomorrow, that's fine. I mean, but I think people are relying on us to make a decision. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And we'll be guided by the legal views and. Yeah.
Okay, so can we work on makes a decision, takes the first steps that are necessary, gets the RFPs out, but the part map's not there, may change from option A to option B, subject to you reporting back or whatever on the viability. Are you looking comfortable, Michael? Is that
It's really wordsmithing to
Right.
get it very clear.
Okay.
I think that's what we want to do.
We need to protect ourselves as businesses that we're not, on the basis of one set of submissions, suddenly layering an answer on another group of people. And we just need to make sure that we are equitable in that. We also need to make sure, I think, going back to the science of the report and basically the principles that we're working on, because, I mean, and I'm no expert in this area, but anything that relies heavily on pipe networks is going to be less resilient, and resilience is one of the fundamentals that we're trying to achieve.
yeah?
I think we've got to weigh up those community expectations. We've also got to look at what the optionality is in terms of what the science delivers.
Right. Okay.
That's going to take a little bit.
Okay. So, Yanni, is this going to change things?
Well, no, because it's coming back tomorrow morning. But can I just be clear? We had some pretty strong words said in the deputation today about process. So I do want, when it comes back tomorrow, really good legal advice over the process in response to those concerns that were raised. Because I don't want to do anything like the pressure sewer system that puts us at risk of having further challenges. So I just think we do need to have some formal response to what was said and be able to explain really clearly.
You comfortable with that, Pete?
Legal advice.
Yeah, I'll arrange for that.
Yep. Okay, right. Dave, in the back seats.
Also, table tomorrow, just the bottom of the Jacobs report has got a multi-criteria analysis against it, and it sort of shows the option that we've preferred outranks the second option, and quite a number of those things, particularly timing, cost, operational costs. One of the issues, and as Mike raised, the residual hazard risk is greater in that second option than what we had in the first. So there are some of that multi-criteria was how we ranked those options, but it wasn't purely on the $5 million. So I might actually table that little table tomorrow as well, but I would refer you to the Jacobs report, which is online, and I'll present you that copy.
Okay. So tomorrow you're going to smith this, but also give us so that if people want to vote against this, they can see that there are advantages in the option in terms of perhaps resilience and timing. Yeah? Ellie?
I just wanted to say that it's really interesting though, because I totally respect and understand what these guys are saying in their area of expertise, but what value do you put on 240 odd trees? And also, this, as you said, this community has been slammed through there already. Some of them are still dealing with insurance.
So we'll have the...
But what value, how do you do that? How do you equate that and rationalise that?
By how you vote, Ellie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Phil?
I think that tomorrow when we're less tired too, besides us absorbing more of the Jacobs report, but in fact if staff perhaps were able to, and I'm sure you will, answer any questions in relation to this, that will help resolve, especially the science part, and how long all this is going to take as well, all those questions.
Okay, so I'm assuming that tomorrow we make the decision whether we go with option B if it's possible, or option A, but in any case we make the decision on a first stage of the solution, at least for Flockton, right? Okay, now can I suggest, is this Pauline?
That if we altered the wording of 9.5, that commence liaising with landowners to facilitate option B, and if option B is viable, proceed to undertake consultation and report back to council by March, so council can make a decision between option A and option B. What about that?
I think people are
We'll put it up there for
almost,
tomorrow then.
you know how sometimes there's too much water? I think that's kind of where most of the...
But that still covers it.
But I think people actually want to think about it overnight and make the decision at 8:30 in the morning, if that's okay.
But are you saying you want to make a decision between A and B tomorrow, or in March?
I'm going to take the beautifully crafted words that Dave and his team are going to come up with tomorrow. Actually, Leanne's going to do it. It's even better. And then you'll all make a call on how you want to vote. Was there, by the way, a seconder for Councillor Cotter's motion? There is now. Dave East. Yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking that you're probably at the end of your tether, that you don't want to go for another hour, and I'm kind of thinking that you'd like to close the meeting and start again tomorrow. Yeah. What's that? It may well, Pauline. It may well, but let's just leave that determination till tomorrow. We can rip through quite a lot of these in the next hour if you want to, but I'm not getting huge body language response to that. Right. Okay, so I will adjourn this meeting till 8:30 tomorrow.